On the Big 89 WLS, it's the Steve Cochran Show, everybody. If you haven't noticed, Steve is not here. I'm Matt Bubala, sitting with Andrea Darlas for today. Nick Gale's in the newsroom. Steve's going to check in about an hour and a half. Let us know what's going on in Italy.
Yeah.
He's living it so rough over there.
Living the dream.
Poor guy. Although you get to go to Italy next year with another group of listeners. Maybe, if you play your cards right, Maria Pappas will come along.
Oh, she's the best. I travel with her anywhere.
You two would be nothing but trouble in Italy, I'll tell you that much. Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas is on the phone. Hey, Maria, how are you?
Always good. Always good. Glad to be on. So lots of news. We came out this week with a report. Dardick and Leidy did a report. The research team analyzed the 1.8 million bills in Cook County, and it was a really interesting report because what they found was that countywide, all 926 governments in Cook County, all right, raised taxes by $909 million. So, people are going to be in for a little sticker shock next week when they open up their bills. And so we're looking at where it is that this happened. Homeowners are up about $599 million, okay, and commercial is up about $314 million. So why is this happening? So they analyzed it, they drilled it down further, and we actually know that where the trouble is coming from is, the biggest trouble is coming from, is school funding. So I'm going to rattle off some percentages for you so that people who get these bills, and incidentally, you don't have to wait to get them in the mail next week. You can get them right now. In fact, get this, Andrea, over $140 million has already been paid by 34,000 people. They went online and paid. I mean, that's just, to me, that's mind-boggling. Mm-hmm. But here's where your money's going. North Riverside, 83% of your bill goes to school. Tinley Park, 78%. Skokie and Mattinson, Illinois, both 78%. Palatine, 74%. Schaumburg, 73%. Barrington and Northfield, all of these are just reassessed. 71% of whatever you're paying is going to the school system. The next four, Roselle, Park Forest, Buffalo Grove, Des Plaines, 70% to schools. Wilmette, 69, that's New Trier Township up there, okay? Kenilworth, 68, and Evanston tie at 68. Elgin and Hoffman Estates tie at 67. Morton Grove at 66, Sauk Village at 64%, and finally the city of Chicago at 55%. So you need, listen to me. We spent a ton of time on this. This is a bill. It's a yellow bill. What you need to do is open the envelope, ENEVLOPE. Open the envelope. Hello, readers, open. What are you going to see? You're going to see on the left-hand side of this bill a bunch of governments. First says municipal taxes, next says school taxes, next says municipality township, and finally Cook County taxes. They're grouped together. You can see actually the amount I have in front of me. You can't see it. A bill for Inverness. Inverness, a nice suburb that just got reassessed. This bill, if you look at it, shows that Harper Community College, Township High School District 211, and Community Consolidated School District 15 in Palatine totals 80% of someone's bill. Totals. Last year, the bill was $11,073. This year, it's $11,027. So,
all right, Maria, let's jump in here real quick and ask you some questions. I know you've got data that you can give us all day long on why this is happening, how this is happening, and what you see. And you can tell that you've had years of people coming up to you complaining, and you're like, I am coming with the facts. I'm going to tell you what's going on here.
Right. Quit complaining. Go to your school board. Go to your elected
vote.
All right, but so tell us about that. So basically what happens is...
your little school district has a hearing once a year. They have a hearing once a year. And by state law, they are allowed to raise the levy, which is the amount of taxes that can be raised in that area by the rate of inflation. So school districts raise it, period. Yeah. It's that simple.
And then that trickles down to your property tax. You then have to go, okay, well, I have to collect all this now, and it's coming out of your property taxes.
Yeah, but if you wanted to do something, you could go to your local school district or any of these agencies, and when they have their hearings once a year and do their budgets, you could go there and say, hey, I don't think this is right. But not only does nobody go to the hearings because they don't know that there are any hearings, but, hey, Andrea, 2/3 of the people, okay, everybody comes to the counter and complains, did you vote? No. Did you vote? No. Did you vote? No. Okay. What do you expect? If 2/3 of the people allowed this to happen, then why are you coming back and complaining?
Right. It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. But is there any way that the school part of it, because obviously every figure that you just read, Maria, the schools are just taking the biggest bite out of all of this. Is there any way that you would foresee that coming down?
Not unless Springfield, who doesn't have, a penny left in their pockets, okay, they can't come up with anything even for the migrant situation or the schools, unless they decided to fund schools in this state.
Right.
And you can't go to somebody who's already broke and say, give me some money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, but there is something that listeners can do here. So the important thing about this bill is that in these little yellow boxes down from where I list all these governments that you owe money to, there's a section called tax calculator, and it says homeowners exemption, senior citizen exemption, senior freeze exemption. If all of those say zero and you're a homeowner and you've lived there for more than a year, it means that you did not get your exemption. It means that you could get $500 off your bill and you didn't get it. So that section, if you go to cookcountytreasurer.com, you put in your address, don't put in north, south, east, or west, and you scroll down. We will tell you if you're a senior over 65 who didn't get the senior exemption. If you're senior over 65 and making under $65,000 and didn't get an exemption, we will tell you lots of instances where people don't get homeowner. You can be any age, have lived in that house for more than a year, don't get a senior exemption, don't get a senior freeze exemption. That means this bill in front of me says $6,000. Well, if you're falling into all those categories for 4 years, I owe you $6,000. Go to my website, cookcountytreasurer.com, scroll down to exemptions, punch apply here if you're not getting any. In 4 to 6 weeks, we will give you your money back.
Maria, Andrea's on the phone right now. She's getting her rebates right on the Big 89 WLS. Steve Cochran Show. Matt Bubala here with Andrea Darlas, and Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas is on the phone. Maria, talk to us a little bit about, so these bills are through the roof. I know you said go to the meetings. People don't know there's meetings. I personally think people might know there's meetings, but they're still not going to go to the meetings because that's a lot to do. So there's only so much people can do. These bills are going up. You say vote. Make sure you know who you're going to. Probably get more involved in your school districts because a huge chunk of the money goes there. So you want your school districts to be spending that money well and things to be going well. There's also the question, though, about the assessment of your house. Would you say that's not rare? That's rarely something. That is that's the largest fight known to mankind. Okay.
I mean, those two agencies keep fighting like there's no tomorrow. And you know what? You want to get in the middle of that, you're going to get your head cut off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The two of them. I mean, they don't stop it. And you know what? The fact of the matter is, the Trib did an editorial this week. They work on different formulas. So if they were working on the same formula, you know what? There wouldn't be all these appeals because they would agree. But if you have two agencies working off of two different formulas, you're going to get this kind of thing where the lawyers in town are going to make a fortune and everybody's going to be appealing, and it just doesn't end. So until something happens where people are forced to use the same formula, this nonsense is going to continue.
Well, how is that happening? Who's overseeing that? Why aren't you changing that for us? You fix that for us.
You know what I do? I send out the bills. I try and explain this to people. The report explains that to people, okay? What you need to do is take the time, if you want to stay in the county of Cook, in the city of Chicago, if you want to live here, you need to get involved and understand what's happening and who's doing it to you. It's that simple. We in the next bill are going to give you every government and the amount of debt that they owe. These governments, these 926 governments, owe $138 billion. I think the debt on one of the north suburbs is $1 billion. There are only 26,000 people that live there. Are you out of your mind to go to that suburb and buy something? Anybody who's even trying to buy a house should come to my site and say, what's the underlying government debt? What's the unfunded pension liability in this city that I'm thinking about buying into? If it's over 75%, then your taxes are going to go up because every year those pensions need to be funded. So this is a matter of, if you want to own a house, you have a responsibility to learn what's happening in the underlying figures of that home. And you have no one to blame except yourself unless you read this bill and understand it. Because when you get your electric bill, you say, oh, did it go up last year? Did it go down last year? You don't just get it and pay it, and it's the same thing with your property bill. We have this thing so itemized that anybody who doesn't read it shouldn't be complaining.
Maria, you did a huge study focusing on higher taxes, mostly due to funding government agencies, of course. But as you alluded to earlier, you can always, if you think your taxes went up because of a higher assessed value of your home, you can always appeal.
You can appeal. It's too late to appeal northern suburbs.
Right.
Now they're working on the southwest suburbs.
So you can appeal, but does that help?
You know what? I guess it does. I mean, some people are happy with it, Some people aren't happy with it. I mean, a lot of people call me and say, I got it reduced and the lawyer took most of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, nobody's happy.
It's true.
Look, let me just say this. This is the world that we're living in is a couple of major wars, okay? The city that we're living in is crime-ridden, okay? The city that we're living in has migrants on the streets, okay? So people wake up angry about those three things. They're already like, what is going on? Why are these people intense? Why did this car run into this store on Milwaukee Avenue? Can I go out tonight? Okay? Now you get a piece of mail that says your bill went up, and in the northwest suburbs, on average, the residences went up 15%. All of your anger about everything in the world, including whether or not you're angry with your husband, your kids, your wife, your ex, whatever, goes into this bill. It's anger. This is an angry, angry, angry populace. So anybody who's in charge of anything, I mean, look at some of these elected officials. They have 5 and 6 bodyguards around them. You think they want these bodyguards around them for their health? They're around them because they feel that they get death threats. They get letters of people saying, I'm going to do this to you and I'm going to do that to you. Why? People are angry. So how do you dispel that anger? You dispel that anger, at least with this bill, by explaining it to people. But this is not 1940. This is not get up in the morning and I'm going to make a loaf of bread and everybody on the block's going to come over and eat it. It ain't happening anymore, Andrea.
No, it's true. Well, unless you make it, because you make some pretty good prospero, I have to say.
I do. I make great bread.
So are you saying everybody should move out to Kane? I'm out in Kane. We're happier out there? Is that what's going on?
No, I don't think people are happier in Kane. I think this is a systemic problem nationwide. I hear people in Will County complaining all the time. I hear people in Kane County complaining all the time. Unfortunately, the one place that's left to go to raise revenue is the property tax system.
Maria, you mentioned the pensions and the unfunded pensions, underfunded pensions all over the place. Mm-hmm. Do you think eventually something is systematically going to have to change how pensions work, or that pensions are even available to city workers?
No, there's already a Supreme Court ruling that says, look, if you owe this person who worked for 30 years X amount of money, you owe them that money. You cannot change it. And that's fair.
Right. Of course, so but we keep adding more people into that.
Your life, you're going to get it. So I think that the county of Cook and the 17 commissioners in Preckwinkle have done a good job of figuring out how to keep the county pension fund funded long term.
Yeah.
I think that's the model agency for what needs to be done with pensions. But you know what? I can't go to Des Plaines or Riverside or Northbrook or, the city of Chicago and tell the mayor, hey, you do what we did.
Yes, you can. You're Maria Pappas. Just start telling people.
You do have a lot of...
Walk in there. Own the room.
You know what? Let me tell you something. When you get to be gray-haired, 74-year-old and a grandmother, you get to do a lot of things like tell people the truth all the time. They know how I feel. They know exactly how I feel.
We love having you on with us. Hey, are you doing the calendars this year?
I'm doing the calendars this year. It's a little slightly different version because everybody wants one. The bigger version is being reduced to one page. It is a one-page, really thick one page with all 12 pictures up and all 12 months up at once.
All right, good.
Really cool.
No property tax money goes into this calendar, though, right, Edie?
No, not paid for by government funds.
Not at all. But we've gotten in physical altercations over these, so.
Yeah, people are like grabbing for these calendars.
What's on this calendar? I don't know.
It's Maria. Oh. It's really cool. It's
Why
good.
are you reducing to one page? We don't get 12 months of Maria anymore?
Because the other one's $7 a piece.
Okay. Saving a little cash. That's okay.
Yeah, I don't want.
Saving some coin.
I mean, just too many people want them.
You are the best.
People come to the counter. What's your calendar? What's your calendar? What's your calendar?
There it is.
You know why people want the calendar? Because, as I said earlier, people are so angry. So here's an elected official that wears crazy jackets, okay, phony fur jackets, okay, turns out crazy calendars, and twirls a baton in a parade. And I have fun. So people are like, you know what? I want to be around Maria. I want to look at her picture every day. She's having fun.
That's right. And we always have to leave you with this. When Steve asked you, how come you didn't run for mayor?
I didn't run for mayor because I would have won.
See? Thanks, Maria.
Thank you, Maria.
Have a great
Pappas,
day.
Cook County Treasurer and the
She's great.
Lord over the angry populace.
I got to say, though, her website's really good. It does explain everything. Everything that she was explaining, yeah, it sucks. Mine went up. Yours went up. Tom's is through the roof.
Yeah.
It just is. I hate to say that, but the site at least helps you navigate and explains why it has gone up.